afternoon and welcome to Spotlight On. Good afternoon and welcome to Spotlight On, right on S24 television. Today we sit with a man whose words often arrive with anger, discomfort, pain and urgency. Ibrahim Garbawala, popularly known as IGWala, is known publicly as an anti-corruption activist, human rights advocate, entrepreneur, environmentalist and political voice. But beyond the public titles, he represents something far more complicated, the voice of a citizen who believes Nigeria is not simply failing by accident, but failing by design. In a recent open letter to comrades in the South, he argued that the North's inability to join structured protest is not indifference, but the result of a deeper warfare. Systemic poverty, illiteracy, hunger, insecurity, and the painful history of protests being hijacked or violently suppressed. In another letter to Nigeria's leadership, he warned that the silence of Nigerians should not be mistaken for consent, but as a record of grief being kept by the next generation. Today, we are not here to praise IGWala. We are not here to attack him as well. We're here to interrogate the argument. Is northern silence really silence? Is hunger becoming a weapon against citizenship? Who benefits when legitimate anger becomes chaos? Can northern Nigeria build a disciplined civic movement without burning its own street? And what does IGWala now see in the ADC and his handshake movement that he believes can change Nigeria's political culture? Welcome to S24 Spotlight On, Comrade IGWala. I know you like for us to address you as Comrade.
Yes. Well, Halima, thank you very much. I couldn't believe what I had. Was that a citation?
It's an introduction.
Wow.
You wear so many caps.
I've never had that, but I'm honored.
Thank you so much for, within a
you.
very short period of time, agreeing to come on this show. We really appreciate that. And we need to apologize to our viewers that we said we're going to start at 12 o'clock, but we're behind schedule. It was due to technical glitches and the Nigerian road thing. You know, sometimes you expect to arrive at a destination in a particular time and maybe road congestion gives you a different outlook entirely. Again, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So My apologies to the audience as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's start with this. Who is IGWala when the slogans are removed? Because you wear so many caps, but who are you when the slogans are removed?
Yeah, Ibrahim Garbawala is IGWala, as simple as that, a Nigerian citizen, an activist. Yeah, I have never taken that position of an activist, not until, well, maybe I was given the crown by going to prison.
That experience, I think we get to talk about that exactly. a little.
So, but activism, I think there's nothing special about that word, or probably that title. It's all about being an active citizen, refusing to just go along with what the system is offering. When you begin to tilt against the tide and you begin to feel like, yes, I don't want to go with the forces that are pulling us towards this direction because the system is not working for us. And so I decided to speak. So when you speak, even if it's just on a small matter, for as long as it has to do with a lot of people's life, you'll be tagged as an activist.
Yes,
obviously.
That's the reality in Nigeria. And it's everywhere. When you speak for the masses,
you
for
have
the
to
people
speak
affected.
For others, because for speaking for others, you're speaking for yourself. And also, looking into, especially when you look at the majority, they are not as privileged as you are. And when you don't agree with that, you feel, no, you could just decide on your own to speak for convenience whenever it matters to you alone. No, you can't be referred to as an activist. But when you speak on issues that cut across the divides, irrespective of whatever correlation or whatever kind of dichotomy, for as long as it is in the interest of humanity in the country or the society, I think it has to do with you also as a person. This is my perspective.
Yes, and that's really germane, because some people, you would recognize them with selective amnesia. If it is affecting the people of their region, they are part of it. If not, because especially when it comes to insecurity, a lot of people feel like when there is maybe silence, it's known for a region. And when it is another region, they are very loud, something like that. And
but what
the
happens
fact that,
when it goes round?
When it goes round, now that it's going round, I think we're trying to find our fit as a people. And this is where I think the most work needs to be done. So now let's go to what actually spurred your attention to start activism. What angered you first that made you think?
Thank you. I think this is a privilege and an honor to me to be asked this question. I was an entrepreneur. When I thought of building the largest business database in Africa, I pushed to the extent that I was able to call for recruitments because there was a kind of a proof of concept at the extent that people were seeing us vividly on the streets. That's the product was coming up then. Now, suddenly, when I called for recruitment of not less than 50 people, I wanted to have structures across the country. Suddenly, that invitation that we asked those interested to come in, guess what? We got over 2,000 proposals, CVs.
For 50 positions?
For just, in fact, less than 50 positions. But what happened was the very day, the streets, we had over 1,000 people on the streets. Yes, even when we shortlisted. In fact, it took somebody from the authority to use his convoy to drive into the crowd, force himself into the office, and begin to ask if we must recruit his own daughter. And I said, no, sir. You cannot intimidate us with your position, with the convoy, just for your daughter alone to be employed here. I refused that, and that was the moment I started being active as a citizen. I said no. When I went to the balcony and looked at the number of people sitting under the trees waiting for their turn.
Over 1,000?
Yes. So I said to myself, no, if I can believe in myself, I think it's high time for everybody to do that.
To believe in themselves.
But how can such individuals, such people also believe in themselves without somebody talking to them? I began to speak. I started talking. And that was how, that anger, that frustration, and what I saw about self-confidence and self-belief that made me to push and get to that point. I mean, many others can do the same thing. That was the beginning of everything.
So should I say activism chose you or you choose activism?
Well, both sides.
Okay.
I was left with no option that I was at the middle of it, so I couldn't just either turn away or move in. So I took the decision.
So what did confrontation teach you about power?
Yeah, wow. First, I so much thank God that I survived it. Yeah, I remember the day I lied down before a moving truck just to make a statement. We were begging for the police to allow us to actually even stand with the crowd somewhere. They refused.
You stand?
Yes, the only thing I could do was the police truck that was trying to move some of the men and also position them with their arms against the crowd. And I was instrumental to pulling most of the people in that crowd. So I felt the safety of those people rely on the decisions I make.
Wow.
Now, for me to put a stop to that, we begged the police, we negotiated, we asked them to please understand. They refused to. The only thing I could do was, okay, your moving vehicle should crush me. And they stopped, and they all shouted, abort, abort, mission abort, whatever, their own technical terms. And that was when I saw they were pulling out the guns and the tear gas and all that. They said, allow us. That was when somebody representing the Commissioner of Police now came to me and said, no, don't do that. It hasn't gotten to that. I was like, oh, okay, so this is the language you people understand. That's the extent.
Wow, that's really amazing. I'm gobsmacked and I'm trying to really internalize and see if I was the one in that position, what would I do? Well, God forbid. So would you say unequivocally that the prison refined you?
No, I refined the prison.
You did?
Yes.
Please take us through that.
Exactly. Now, in the first place, if we talk about prison in Africa, it's more like starting to look at it from even the matter that took you to the prison. Now, because it was an alarm regarding corruption taking place somewhere else. And alarming that, I did it using the social media instruments, the platforms we have.
Yes.
That would have been, if I had not had the opportunity to use the social media, probably these same forces would have actually found a way to cajole me on their side and suppress me, probably use any other person.
If suppression is even the key, because there are people that disappeared. So,
Thank you. So with that, it now took me to realize that from the moment my voice was out there, pointing out what I saw, that was the very moment they started their own plans. They picked even the policemen to arrest me, the courts. In fact, the person that the courts that they took me to, they also handpicked even the judge and handpicked even the prison I was to go, handpicked even the prison officers that were to actually take care of me. So why I said I reformed the prison, because when I went in there, it was not a program for even someone as an activist? No. Talk more of the criminals, that the prison, we all believe that this is meant for the criminals. Because I checked through the activities in the prison. Halima, I'm telling you this, there is no single program that is actually meant to reform, to correct.
Now that they call it correctional service.
Exactly. I've said this thing, even from the police cell. What I've realized, I've met a lot of young people that you don't want to hear their stories. And I refuse to say it, I refuse to keep quiet. Even right in there, I started fighting for their right. And I said, no, you need somebody to stand by you.
For you?
Yeah, exactly. And stand for you as well. Because if you think what you've done is wrong and you are realizing that, given another chance, you'll never do that again. It's because of the system, it's because of probably some of you people have wrong or bad parenting and all that. These things actually culminate into what young people are going through. I understand. But when you take these people from the police cell, now you take them to court, and the next thing the judge will like pronounce whatever he feels like, and the next thing these people find themselves in a Black Maria, being moved to the prison. In fact, what I see happening between the police, the judges, that's the court, and also the prison itself, I see a deliberate design to actually create a place where people that are being counted on numbers, so that this serves as an opportunity for a government agencies to be given a budget so that they count the number of people they feed. Yes, because these people, some of them are innocent, but your number as a criminal, as someone in this correctional center, matters.
Can we correct that? Because I think there's been allegations against these services where there will be budget for feeding the prisoners, their welfare, etc. And at the end of the day, you'll see that what are they doing for the prisoners? If you go to the prison yourself, you see what is obtainable. Myself, I've visited a prison before. I don't want to, as following an NGO, I don't want to be part of anything like that again. But do you think we can change that perspective?
No, if we talk about changing the prison, I think it's much more of changing the leadership of this country and changing the mindset of lots of young people right from the time they're in school. Because if we are to build a country, it means we need to actually find where these problems are. And most of these problems are fundamental issues, whereby perception, you can imagine a policeman, just for being a policeman wearing his uniform, he is perfectly feeling like he is much more better than the person he is policing. Now, you see, that's a mindset.
Yeah,
and at the same time, this same policeman is willing to use force, to even use his arm against a citizen who is not even convicted. Even if he's convicted, it's not the policeman that is going to take his gun and aim at that convict. So this is a mindset. That's why I'm saying if we have to change this, because this policeman might actually one day become the Inspector General of the police. And he is part of the policy making and decision making as well.
I think we'll get to the system again. Just briefly, people call you activists. Some call you entrepreneur. Some call you politician. What should the general public in Nigeria call you?
I think it depends on the circumstance that we're in. If I am
maybe I would choose entrepreneurship for you, but let's...
Well, if we are to talk about entrepreneurship here, call me an entrepreneur. I will fit in. But if you are to call me an activist, yeah, I love that more because, sincerely speaking, it's not about wearing the title. It's about motivation. Exactly.
Embodying.
It's
the true title.
Exactly. So let it be that you're encouraging me to do more of this than just saying, no, you're not an activist anymore, you're a politician. I was like, oh, so you don't want me to talk again about it. Anyway, so whatever circumstances warrant.
We want to embody the best of you. And thank you so much. With this, we'll go on a short break. And Liberty Symposium event is going to be shown at the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still Spotlight on, right on S24 television. And we've been speaking to Comrade Ijiwala, popularly known as an activist. But I think we'll touch base on the politician side as well as we continue this conversation. So before we go further, it is important to make one thing clear. This conversation is not about reducing Northern Nigeria to hunger, illiteracy, or failed leadership. Northern Nigeria is far bigger than that. It is a region of so many things: scholarship, education, faith, enterprise, agriculture, culture, political influence, community resilience, and civic potential. But it is also a region where protest carries particular risk. We have seen moments where demonstrations that began with legitimate grievances became vulnerable to taking over, looting, violent confrontations, curfews, arrest, and death. So when IG Wala writes that Northern protest is weakened by poverty and illiteracy, the question is not whether the North is capable of civic action. The question is deeper. What conditions make civic action difficult? What turns legitimate anger into disorder? Who benefits when protest loses discipline? And how can Northern Nigeria build a protest culture that is organized, protected, peaceful, issue-based, and impossible to dismiss, or as thuggery or something like that just come into play? Now, let's quickly ask you a simple question before we go further into this protest thing. What do you think people misunderstand mostly about you as a person?
Okay, thank you. Well, I think apologetically speaking, I understand. It's a matter of perception and understanding. So people sometimes don't get to see the value in what we do, what I do, not because they don't like me. I understand that. Simply because sometimes the expectation, we as humans, we cut short of their expectations on what we do. So I don't dwell much on how people perceive me, because some few months or few days or weeks ago, somebody, the same person that was condemning you, and the next is switched to say, well done and thank you. Wow. So I think it's just a human factor.
Yes.
So I don't think I understand people. People can.
It's just people sometimes. So you wrote that the North is not indifferent but weakened by design. What do you mean?
Sincerely, my sister, when you started introducing this particular segment, I felt touched and emotional rather. I am a victim of what happened during protest. Yeah. In Kano, I lost everything in just one day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is one story that most people do not know.
Do you want to quickly take us through that very briefly?
Just briefly. The same business I told you I set up in, trying to build the largest business database in Africa. Finally, I landed into the e-commerce, building an e-commerce platform from Lagos office, Port Harcourt, Imo, down to Abuja and Kano. During a tough moment for the business, I decided to fold all these branches and move to Kano. That was when I moved some staff from Lagos and Port Harcourt. We all converged in Kano. Got a house, got an office, we were operating there, trying to build all the markets, have the data and the markets on our platform. Guess what happened? During the 2024 End Bad Governance protest. I left Kano to Abuja in my house, and the next minute there was going to be protest the next day. I said, okay, close the office today so that tomorrow that place there won't be anybody. Trust me, I never knew that was the end of the business.
Oh my goodness.
Now, it's not about ending the business. I lost so much there, but that does not concern. What matters to me, staff, I knew how a lot of them struggled to get the job. And at this point, that we were actually so excited with what the growth of the business
is.
Over 150 agents across all markets in Kano working for us, including about 30 staff in the office. Halima, the next day, all of this family, that was the end of their paychecks, no more. Them leaving their homes to come to office, no more. It's just like this building with the staff in. Just you did not plan it, you did not see it coming. And then tomorrow morning, this place, let's assume everything, no single thing, including this bottle, was taken away, destroyed. The building structures down.
Was the building yours?
No, it wasn't. Rented. Yes. So imagine that.
That's so devastating.
That actually touched me more. Till today, the government of Kano, no single letter to say sorry. Yeah, a committee, we had a call. Somebody called and said the committee said, you people should come forward. We went forward. We documented everything. We forwarded. As long as we are not politically inclined,
That's
the
it.
Kano State government did not bother.
Unfortunately, I think there should be a way to get a succor from that.
So I'm not complaining, but I'm trying to let you see why I wrote that letter. When I was writing, people could not see. It took someone who has actually been a victim
to
bring
write
it
like
out.
that.
Exactly.
Well, I went through the comment
Honestly,
section, and when I went through the comment section, of course, you would always get people with myopia, not thinking beyond their nose.
Yeah.
But of course, from the comment section, you know people who understand where you were coming
Definitely.
from, and the people
Definitely.
that were just
90%.
Yeah.
90%.
It's so sad. I'm so sorry about your
thank you.
experience.
Thank you.
So in what ways do you think we can discuss Northern Nigeria poverty without insulting our dignity?
Okay. I think it takes courage to actually speak about your flaws as humans. First and foremost, Northern Nigeria, I love the introduction you've done to this segment, whereby it's a region full of potentials. We all have whatever it takes. In fact, I am so proud to be a Northerner and to be a Muslim.
I am as well.
Exactly. And I am so proud to have Christians in my family, my brothers, my friends. We all school together. We all do things together tomorrow. I don't believe in this division, this dichotomy that we found ourselves living in. So talking about the potentials in Northern Nigeria and the challenges, I think dwelling on the challenges is because we want to face reality, especially at this point where history is demanding so much from us because the records are being set, and one day we don't want a distortion in the narrative that the future generations are going to see. That is why we're trying to tell the elders and the leaders to say to them, come, don't get us wrong when we speak ills about ourselves or about our society. What matters to us is about the reality that is hitting us today. And these realities did not just happen today. It's actually, we saw the trajectory coming. And you people fail to address this thing. You know, there's a culture in the North. We all know, both Christians and Muslims. The moment someone hurts you, someone actually trampled on your right, the next thing that can happen is for people to begin to say to you, Kaya Uli. Now, this Kaya Uli, is it enough to solve the problem?
No.
Now, a lot of people piled up their anger within. Now, the same thing, a child or a family that maybe let's say the father that lost his farm, right, to probably herders. Now, the community will not address that issue. The next thing, the whole community is coming to this person, including those that are supposed to address this matter. They will come to this father.
Saying, be patient, sorry about it.
Exactly, sorry about that. And they expect you to take the sorry
and just
go home and take the sorry and serve as food to the plates, to your family. How can that help that particular man and his child that is watching what has been done to his father?
It's just a simple analogy for the late Major General Rabi that died in the bush.
Tell me.
I was just discussing with someone very important this morning to say, these things, they've been accumulations of a lot of things. What do you tell the child of this man? The mom is still in the bush. And I think that's where we should address the root causes. In what ways do you think we can address that?
You see, I wish it's something me and you can just leave the studio to just go to the war front and begin to change things. No, it's not like that. Because it's something that has to do with the authority. Why the authority? The authority, in the first place, the budgets of the taxpayers are being culminated into what supplies the arms. Now, it's about kinetic
and
energy.
non-kinetic as well?
No, I'm talking about the force.
Okay.
We don't have the authority to assume the position of that power that has the instrument to actually suppress the criminals over there. So I am saying, if that is the case, it is very important for the government to come in. When it comes to rescue, it is not you and I, because we're armless, we're defenseless. Now, if we are to deal with this crisis as it is today, there has to be that immediate measures on how to deal with what is burning, the fire that is burning. Then, while this is being attended to, also somewhere beneath, also that long-term and that permanent solution is also being implemented.
So it's like to say the short-term, the medium-term, and the long-term.
Obviously.
Okay, in stages.
Yes. So in actually talking to the government, you see, Halima, we have this culture also in the North, which is part of the issues we have here. Now, when these crises are brewing, we overlooked this crisis.
Yes.
Now, the same attitude that say, sorry, what I'm saying is, excise patient, let this thing pass. Let it be. In fact, I like that. Let it be, and it ends up becoming what we don't know because we allow it to be. So, in dealing with this situation, it was more like we saw it when Boko Haram, even before Boko Haram, we saw this crisis coming.
Yes.
We allow it.
And we
go back to the data on the street. Find out of school children. Find out the Almajiri system. Find out the freedom of religious expression that allows just individuals to come from nowhere
and speak any way they want.
In fact, is he speaking alone? No. He has this volunteer students that comes in the name of, majalisimani. This is where we sit. This is where we take the lessons from this person. No institutions has vetted this individual.
For long.
Yes, he just somebody. How did Muhammad Yusuf become Muhammad Yusuf?
Of course. We're so nonchalant.
Exactly. So these are the things I was pointing in that letter. But I didn't speak in this manner. But I tried to let our southern colleagues realize that we are not actually afraid of those whatever weapons they are using against us. But the most devastating weapons is the one that are actually pierced through our soul deeply, right from time. When I was a child, till today, there are things that affects me that I can never change it. Not because of anything, because it has been instilled
rooted
in me.
In you.
Yes. So, but our colleagues out there could easily say, let's go to the protest, and everybody's on the street for the protest. But in our case,
we can't.
When you say, let's go to the protest, it's like, let's go and attack this building. Let's go, there's food inside. Let's go and see how we can fetch it. And let me tell you what will shock you, Halima. You see, when these boys attack buildings during protests, whatever they cut away with, Halima, their parents welcome them home with it.
Unfortunately, we've seen
those that were able to move bags of grains, rice, palm oil, their parents welcome them like heroes.
Because of poverty.
And these are people from 7 years old upward.
What are
to
we
25.
teaching them?
These are the people that are raiding the buildings, in taking opportunity of the crowd during the protest. And their parents, you don't blame them when you go and see the parent. I followed some of the things I've seen. They told me, I said, come, take me to that community. I went to a home. The family came. I said, these are the seats from my office. The mother came and said, Bawang Allah, take it easy, bear with us. I was in tears.
Because of their condition.
Yes. I pulled out money
so
and added to, I said, keep the chairs and take this money and do more. The same child that went into that building and destroyed the building came to kneel before me.
Oh my God.
And was seeking for apology and thanking me for actually understanding their plight.
Oh my God, that's so sad. And quickly, is Northern Poverty now political infrastructure before we go to break?
I didn't get that, sorry.
Is Northern Poverty now political infrastructure?
Oh, perfectly. This is the frustration to people like us. Oh, yes. Okay, we said we're not going to join politics, but we ended up joining politics because we realized that there's a gap there.
And from the sidelines, you can't do anything.
You can't do anything. Because if you're sincere, that you actually want to make that change, you definitely need to diagnose it from inside and get to see the reality, not the hearsay.
I think we'll get to further details about that, because it's a lot to really maybe dissect for our viewers to understand better, because there is something when you go in, you expect something and it's totally different.
Exactly.
Let's take another break. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back again. If you're just joining us, it's still S24 Spotlight on, and we've been speaking with Comrade IG Wala, popularly known as an activist, an entrepreneur, a politician, and currently the new designation is the stalwart of the ADC. We've spoken a lot about our current situation as Northern Nigeria and the letter that IG Wala wrote to our southern counterparts and even, let's say, Nigerians as a whole. In your letter, you drew a painful comparison. You said that the elite see public office as a license to loot the treasury, while the dispossessed see a broken storefront as a mandatory license to take basic commodities. That's a very difficult argument to even acknowledge as a person. Why did you come to this conclusion?
Halima, survival instinct. When in an environment where resources are scarce, there's no issue of justice or fairness. Now, everybody uses whatever opportunity that presents itself before. Now, haven't you seen political appointees being celebrated as if they've actually gotten a ticket to heaven? Now, this is because, in fact, okay, haven't you also heard or seen someone who has been castigated for being upright while in office and refusing to actually loot or touch public fund or actually abuse a trust? That individual will never be celebrated. That individual will actually be, in fact, nobody welcomes you home. That person end up dying poor within his own family members or community. Now, haven't you also realized that most of the young men that find themselves doing some things, I wouldn't say, for example, a lot of young people have left classrooms to delve into technology, abusing technology in the name of Yahoo boys. And this time around,
in fact,
girls.
there is plus. There is Yahoo plus.
Yes. Now, these individuals are being celebrated for what they display as their reach.
The affluence.
Exactly. So if you now come back to the issue of leadership and the followership in the North, especially in relation to the situation we're in, why people don't come out to protest, it's obvious. You see, coming out for protest, I was very careful not to conclude that it is truly haram. I was disagreeing when they said protest was haram. I totally disagree. But if you now look at it in a positive light, to stop people or to deny people the opportunity to go onto the street, to also attack buildings, destroy businesses.
Especially people who worked tirelessly to build something.
So it's wrong. It's haram to destroy someone's business. It's haram to cut short of other people's opportunity just because you are coming out to protest. Now, I said, okay, protest is haram if we are trying to say, don't go out, don't create opportunities for this innocent, yet victims of whatever.
Circumstances.
Yes. So let's not create an opportunity whereby they will go out, perpetrate all the things they've done, and when you look at them as criminals, but if you want to go back and review the system and look at it, what about this same person sitting in the office that actually took the entire budget of a Ministry of Education and went to build a private school somewhere where his elites will patronize him with his own words? Now, this is the true picture, my sister. So what exactly are we into? Do we blame the child, the poor child, that actually moved into the storefront,
because of
break into and pack whatever it is? His sister is dying, probably because of hunger. She has actually developed some acute malnutrition. And at the same time, the mother is lying. And now this boy has opportunity to take this food. If he comes back to kneel down before this person, this same another person that is also a victim, I might actually be fair to any public office holder that is abusing his law, I might also be fair enough to say to him, he is also a victim of circumstance. Because we celebrate
this
them.
is so dicey because if you look at it like in a bigger picture, everyone is guilty.
Thank you.
Everyone is guilty.
Thank you.
But what can we do to change the narrative? Because you just made mention of something very key, or germane, would I say, is that they are victims of circumstances, right?
Yeah.
But some people will say, you're making excuses for these people. What can we do right to change the narrative?
Beautiful. I have a solution for all the things I've mentioned. For example, the protests. You see, if coming together between the good, the bad, and the ugly is a threat to the street, to the society, the best thing we can do is decentralize the structure. Don't bring people on the same group anymore. Decentralize them and make sure the informed people you and I should actually create a forum, right? And within the same community where we have the vulnerable citizens, we still have few individuals that could serve as leaders.
Yeah.
Now, let them form their own cycles. Now, you must first create an opportunity for these people to bring them, the vulnerable ones, bring them in there so that let them have a bit of attention to what you are going to see.
Exposure, most
Exactly.
importantly.
So the question is, who is going to do this? The person that is going to do this, the you and I that sat in a classroom from primary, secondary to university, come back to your immediate community, society. Begin to organize, begin to deploy, to give back your knowledge, your senses, your refined
intellect.
Exactly. Give it back so that let this neighborhood of yours
And participate or enjoy the dividend of your education.
So the problem of why we have that society that is difficult to manage is because you and I refuse to actually go back and give it back to them. We
So
feel we are well refined, more refined, better than them.
Okay, so
we don't
I
want
think
to
in
mingle.
some situations, you'll find out that it's not just that people don't want to go there in isolation. For instance, I remembered when COVID outbreak started, and I recruit some of my colleagues and say, let's go and do public awareness about this. When we got there, we were almost lynched because they said, I think I'm so sorry for my language, and I felt terribly bad, but that shouldn't be an excuse, I totally believe. But in what ways can we do this in a way that our people, because once you go back as a refined person to our society, people believe someone is maybe bankrolling you somewhere. In what ways can we take ourselves back to give back without going as somebody they feel somebody is bankrolling us somewhere, and we can truly give back from our earnings, not from stolen funds or something?
Thank you. I think we definitely have a responsibility here as citizens to first and foremost agree that, look, there's something very important. It's not when it matters. No. On a normal day, begin to create this, let's say, this civic platforms. It mustn't be registered.
Okay.
It can just be on a freelance. Walk in there, bring people within your neighborhood, and also find the next street who is somebody of your like minds to say, okay, come together, let's do something. And trust me, the people in my street will listen to me because I live there, I mingle with them, we pray together, we go to mosques. Now, the point is where we have problem is we don't see them when it matters or until when it matters to. That is the point.
When there's life occurrences.
Exactly. So, and another thing, let me also quickly say this. I don't know how time would permit this.
Yeah.
You see, part of the solutions that there is something in the north which is very, very important. I'm going to use an analogy. Somebody rushed to the theater room, the medical theater room for an operation. The most important thing that can be done to that person is to actually put that person on anesthesia.
Yes.
For him not to feel the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what religion has turned. They've turned religion into an anesthesia. Yes. In fact, the easiest way to radicalize individuals is to use those chapters and verses
of the Quran,
either the Quran or the Bible, to actually make sure the person goes to the point that he will not feel the pain even if you touch the person. Even if you pinch the person will not feel the pain because he has been administered with this anesthesia to believe that whatever happens to him is not a pain because the pain in hereafter is much more difficult. So this person has assumed the position of a hero for himself. So that person is working as a machine. That person is talking to you and operating with that anger because he believes that what he's doing, he's much more, in fact, let me say he's secured. He has every protection. He has what's the word? I'm seeking for that word that makes some people feel like so immune against anything that can harm them because he feels his feet. Now, we need to really correct this.
That.
Yes.
It is deep-rooted, so we've got a long way to change the narrative. You wrote that the poor sometimes mirror the predatory patterns of leaders. Is that too Not,
of course,
not
it's a reflect. Let me tell you, if a political appointee is in the office, now given appointment today, given 3 months, his lifestyle has changed. Why? Because he has everything around him.
Yeah.
He has people coming to worship him. Now, that is what these individuals, the less privileged, that feel, okay, if this guy goes this way doing his own thing, now every opportunity that comes my way, I'm going to reflect on what he does. Subconsciously. It's not like you sit down to plan to agree.
It's subconscious.
It just happened because we are competing against each other. Now, if those at the high level actually competing to show us that, look, they've made it. Now the same thing in the other part of the divide. These individuals are also saying, look, we can use whatever we can to actually get ourselves what we want. So the mentality is all about go and grab. They went in there as political appointees, as leaders, to grab. The same thing these other people also, they do nothing but to grab.
Unfortunately.
That is it. So that's the reflection, that's the mirror.
So what strategy do you think a northern youth would engage in with civic discipline before protest so that we don't always go back to the chaos that we've seen in the past?
Let the media create this consciousness in us. Let the media not be perturbed. Continue to work hard. Recognize individuals from local communities that are actually helping. There are a lot of individuals doing more than what we're doing. Excuse me.
Yes.
Now, these individuals, I guarantee you, if we can have them, I promise you, they will be encouraged to do more. So by the time you actually bring in this, make them the heroes of the communities, I bet you they will begin to create platforms where this particular citizens that we are looking down on would actually stand and say, wow. So there won't be, even if another pandemic happens to come, if you go in there, they will not feel these are strangers, these are aliens coming to us. So, because we ignore them, they feel ignored.
So we need to pay attention to them.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll take the final break. When we return, the conversation ends, but it doesn't just end in the studio. It continues because I've learned a lot from my big brother, Comrade IG Wala, to see that we go back to our society and give back in our own little way. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And the last part of the Spotlight On edition for today with Comrade IG Wala. We've spoken a lot, and I believe this conversation will continue from this point. We'll still call my big brother in many more times to talk on different topics as they affect our nationhood. And let's quickly take a few more questions on the North-South, two different struggles. You addressed your letter to comrades from the South. Why?
Yeah, in fact, I had calls. Wala, where are you? We're on the streets. Have you graduated from the streets? Because you become a politician. I said, no. Unfortunately, I wasn't in town. I just came back yesterday. So I said, no. I saw comments whereby I say, people like IG Wala are no more seen on the streets because probably they've gone. I said, no, come on, that's not the point. And finally, I could see those on leading the protest. These are people who I've known personally one-on-one, people who have done one or two things. So I would have been there with them, but I felt it's not just me, but most of the northern, this is exactly what happened during the NSAS.
Yeah.
I remember, even when we tried our best to actually join that from the north. It actually did not work. For obvious reasons.
Because obviously, I think NSAS is two different spectrum. What they expect with federal SARS in the South is not the same with experience in the North. Yeah.
You're right. So on this one, I said, okay, it's obvious that it's glaring that the North is not doing anything. And because almost all of us agree that, look, protest is a distraction in the North. We can't help it. I've seen some, in fact, in the past, we made effort to explain to people this is the true situation in the North. It's end up in a chaos. We don't agree. They said, look, you guys are making up excuses and all that. But and I said, no, I felt the pain of what happened to the businesses on the street.
Yeah.
And even another thing that matters, very important, is if you allow protest in the north to turn into chaos. Now, the victims are mostly those from the south.
Yes.
The businesses.
Yes.
The Igbo businesses, the Yorubas, printing press, and all that. The media houses belong, so people traveling in between, the cuts in between the crisis and all.
And some lose their lives.
Exactly. A lot. So, and I said, no, let me write. Let them see this. So let me make an appeal. To them, to feel, to understand. It's not as if we're not ready to join. We don't want the crisis to escalate. You go on protest trying to address an issue. Instead, you end up creating another big problem. In fact, bigger. Because by the time an attack in Sabongari, where mostly the Igbos, in Kano, for example, happens, you're going to hear people say, they're attacking the Southerners. So I try to...
And then it can just blow up into something.
So, and I said, let me appeal to those Southerners. Let them understand. In fact, refusing to come out with protests, or with protests, rather, in the street of Kano, it is the protection of a Southerner. It's for the interest of the Southerner that we're not protesting. Because if we allow the protest to happen, I bet you they're not going to attack the homes of people because it's their own homes. They go straight to the businesses. And these businesses are owned by foreigners. Multinationals are not owned by local people, are owned by foreigners. When I say foreigners, I don't necessarily refer to somebody from outside the country. Yes, multinationals are for foreigners, quite okay. But who are the beneficiaries who are making a living out of the jobs in those companies? They are the locals, and also probably people from the south. So this is the true situation.
Some would say we're still making excuses. So
no, yeah, I understand, but it's a painful reality that is being projected as an excuse. But because we definitely need to know how to engage. Times are changing. There were no social media. Now there are social media. Instead of practical or street protests, we can turn that into an online protest. We could create a boycott whereby some services, anything government, if you say people stay at home, let nobody comes out and nobody goes to work. Let's see what the government is going to. The international, perception is, it will now be that this government is failing, and that's an impact. So we cannot go about creating solutions and we end up creating a bigger problem and we feel we're comfortable with that.
So you've mentioned key things. The Southerners misunderstood Northern silence because they feel we just want to keep quiet, while we don't still understand the protest culture of the Southerners. Yes, right? If I'm correct with
Exactly.
Okay, now let's go to this. Is Nigeria, fighting one national battle or several regional battles? Just some days ago, for context.
I like this question.
Yes.
Perfect. This is for us to understand. You see, while we're all struggling to fix the country collectively, now the reality is we are already regionalized because the federation actually gave back
6 regions.
Exactly, the regions and also the states, down to the local government. Now, the same fight that is happening across, if you go to one state, you see the whole local government and the people, tribes, and all this are also fighting a similar fight. So, but what, in essence, it is, we like it or not, we are segmented, we are regionalized, and not for bad, but for good. It's only that the challenges are overwhelming. Now, this is historical because the system of governance we are running is actually, instead of creating more opportunities, but we see more of impediments in terms of growth. Now, I say to myself, come, let me struggle from inside. That is why sometimes I don't like the north-south
divide.
Yes, but the reality is from our culture, simple means of communication. I talk to you with a form of respect. I don't see a woman. I see a mother in you.
Yes.
So I cannot talk down to you when I'm talking to you.
Yes.
This is a culture.
In northern Nigeria.
It's irrespective of religion. Now, that is one. Secondly, I also think of the opportunities here. We provide raw materials in this part of the town, the country. Now, you have the processing plants, right? You have the patience to take it and turn it into products. But we have the market. Then you bring it back to us. And we consume, we pay you. So that symbiotic relationship, it's compulsory. God designed it in this way.
Or not just in Nigeria.
Nature has actually positioned us in this way. Now, the same thing, there are things we can't do all the building materials don't come from
Nigeria.
the north. It comes from the south. Forget that we have the sun, we have the cement, we have the water. But there are irons, woods, and all these things. So it's a compulsory that we must live together. So the issue of fighting the the smaller struggles. Yes, the regions are also, we are also fighting within our own regions. But when we come together, how do we now bring this effort together and begin to bridge the gap that is actually creating more space, that we are envying each other in trying to, we're even like being hostile to each other whenever we come together.
And trying to compete.
Look at what happens in the National Assembly. Most at times you see, they feel like, no, and in reality, the two divides, those representing us, are they really speaking for the people or for themselves? So
quite unfortunate. Due to time, we need to take a few more questions, maybe one more question, especially in your second letter.
Okay.
In another letter you wrote directly to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Nigeria's ruling political class, you said the silence of Nigerians is not consent, but a meticulous recording of grief. Now, when citizens stop speaking, is it peace or mostly is exhaustion?
It's both sides.
Okay.
Is the truth?
Coin.
Yes, because you see, politicians, especially the arrogant ones, like somebody said, I think it was the president that said he's an arrogant politician. He's a stubborn, sorry.
Stubborn, yeah.
Arrogant and stubborn, okay. He's a stubborn politician. You see, such stubborn politicians prefer a situation whereby people remain silent, right? Now, in a situation whereby people refuse to remain silent, it's a contempt to them. Now, but the reality is, if you make people to keep quiet by actually giving them what they deserve from the contracts that you have signed with them before they vote you in, then you are in a position that you must deliver. Now, if you don't deliver, people are going to talk.
They're going to talk.
Northerners, our silence sometimes might be mistaken. In the case of insecurity and refusing to come out to protest, is a silence that actually means we are not with you. But we are waiting for an opportunity where we're going to reveal that we're not with you.
To vent the anger. And lastly, the ADC movement. You recently moved toward ADC and introduced the movement as part of a new political direction.
Yeah, handshake movement.
Why ADC?
Yes, thank you. In the past, many of our comrades attempted to delve into politics, but there are rules, there are laws from the party's, let's say, constitutions, whereby they do not allow newcomers to be given some privileges, right? Now,
the not too young to run bill is just, or a law, it's just...
Yeah, no, the law is there, but when you go into the political parties, you discover that there are a lot of things need to be changed to reflect the bigger...
The change.
Exactly. So I now said, okay, when ADC stepped in, that's when the coalition was formed, we now saw, whoa, we went through to check their rules, their constitution. It's so liberal compared to the other parties.
And
we now see, okay, this is an opportunity for us to come in, and it worked. So a lot of young people are there. A lot of politicians are also, that are aggrieved are there. So they have their experiences, and we are naive when it comes to politicking, but we feel, okay, this could form a good synergy whereby learn from them. We are coming with our own energy.
Give and take.
Exactly. We have this energy that they don't have.
Yeah.
And they have the experience that we don't have. So why can't we come to a common ground and see how we can actually tap from? Okay. And the most important thing is you have free choice to make. You want to contest or you don't want to contest?
Thank you so much. I'm afraid due to time we need to go. Just a quick rapid fire before we call it a wrap. Just in a sentence, what must northern Nigeria do for itself without waiting for Abuja? Just in a sentence.
Let the malams, if I say malams, I'm not necessarily the clerics, every influential figure in the north, please save us from these killings. Save us from the poverty. Please save us from what is happening to us by doing the right thing. Turn from the personal gain into the public gain.
Thank you. And on rapid fire, short answers only. Nigeria in one word.
Nigeria.
In one word.
Can trying times be a one word? A compound word, rather.
It's a compound word, just one word.
Okay, we're in crossroad.
Crossroad. Northern Nigeria in one word.
A thriving, thriving society.
Thriving. Thank you. Poverty in one word.
Weapon.
Illiteracy, accident or design?
Both.
You need to choose one.
Okay.
Accident or design?
Design.
Okay. Northern silence, fear, exhaustion or strategy?
Let me be positive. Strategy.
Strategy. Southern protest culture, courage or privilege?
It's privilege.
Okay. And ADC, alternative or experiment?
Experiment.
Okay. Youth anger, dangerous or necessary?
Wow. Can I choose it too?
No, you need to choose one.
Dangerous or necessary?
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Okay. Prison, punishment or lesson?
Lesson.
And 2027, do you think it's an illusion?
Or what?
Yes or no?
Okay. No.
No. Why? Just in one word.
We're still building.
Okay, we're still building. Building is the word.
Yeah.
One institution Nigeria must rebuild.
Wow. Political.
Okay, and then complete this. Nigeria will change when?
We all agree it
When
must
we
change.
all agree. And complete this. The North will rise when?
When education is everywhere.
When education is everywhere. That's really key. Complete this. Power must do what?
Must serve the people.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation with you. And I would like to say come every day because this has been amazing. You've
Thank you.
written with anger, pain, and warning. But if hungry young Nigerian is watching you tonight, someone angry enough to break but too tired to organize, what do you say to that person in one sentence?
Please, nobody hates you. So don't hate yourself and don't see people hating you. Listen to me because I want to help you. Meaning, listen to everybody that say, come, accept and listen. Trust me, you'll be over this situation you're in.
Thank you so much, Comrade Ijiwala. Today's conversation reminds us that democracy is not only tested at polling units, it is tested in the way people feel, fear, silence, protest, and whether citizens still believe their country can be repaired or not. Ijiwala's argument is uncomfortable. He says poverty can weaken resistance, illiteracy can distort civic action, and when there is no food on the table, it can turn protest away from policy and towards survival. And the poor are often blamed for the chaos created by those who govern them badly. But the deeper question is for Nigeria itself. Can a nation build democracy when citizens are too hungry to organize, too insecure to believe, and too disappointed to trust? Can Northern Nigeria build civic resistance that is disciplined, protected, peaceful, and impossible to dismiss? And can Southern and Northern citizens understand that their struggles may look different, but the demand is the same: dignity, justice, security, accountability, and a country that works? That is the conversation for today. This has been Spotlight On. I am Halima Abdurrauf. Thank you for watching. Stay with S24 Television and bye for now.
16th of June 2026.